Hey, it's Joe Amoia, founder and creator of GPSforlove.com. Got a quick question for you. Have you ever wished that there was a system, a strategic way that you could actually know that you were settling and that you were with the wrong guy? Well, if so, I want you to pay close attention because I believe there is, and I'm going to share it with you. So put your ear close. You ready? Here we go. See, if you're going to have the kind of relationship you really want, that's also going to lead to a true, happy, and fulfilled feeling in your heart. And so if you're not feeling truly happy and fulfilled in your heart, it's a telltale signal that you're with the wrong guy. Now, I know you're saying, but Joe, how do I know? How do I know if I'm really fulfilled or not? Because there are times in the beginning where everything's great. I think I'm fulfilled. There's this great chemistry. There's this look, there's this attraction. We're great in bed. He's saying and doing all the right things. And I say, yeah, a lot of that is true in the beginning. And that's the key, in the beginning. And so eventually, guys show their true colors, which is why I'm a big believer in not jumping into relationships and really taking your time and getting to know a guy. It doesn't mean you take 3 years. You just take a couple of dates, a couple of weeks before you jump into bed, before you jump into a relationship. So that being said, what you need to understand is that the telltale way to know if you're settling is if you experience what I call the big six. And the big six are frustration, sadness, upset, anger, depression, and resentment. Okay, I'm going to give them to you again. You might want to write these down. Frustration, sadness, upset, anger, depression, and resentment. See, what do you notice about these things? They're all negative emotions. And if you experience these negative emotions consistently, they're telltale signs that one or more of your needs aren't being met. See, there are times you're going to be frustrated. There's times where I'm frustrated with my wife, and there's times she's frustrated with me. But it doesn't really happen a lot because we made sure we picked the right person who naturally met our needs. So if you're with a guy and he's doing some things great, but you're consistently frustrated, you're consistently sad because he's not there, he doesn't keep his agreements, you're consistently depressed because he treats you like a convenience and not a priority, well, that's a telltale sign that you're settling. Now, there's also one that comes, it's kind of in bed with the big six, but it's also separate on its own. And it's this thing called fear. Because very often you settle because you're afraid you'll never get what you really want. So it's easier to settle. It's easier to settle for crumbs when you never feel you're going to get the whole pie. And there's many, many reasons for that. But if you find that you're with the guy and you're with him because you're afraid you can't do better, then you really got to take your mirror time and really get honest with yourself and there's nothing wrong with settling, but just realize you're making a choice to settle and it's never going to get any better. And that once you decide to settle, then you kind of give up your right to want more because you're kind of saying that, you know what, this is as good as it's going to get and I'll be happy with this. But will you really? See, you can BS the world, but you can't BS yourself. Deep in your heart, you know the truth. You know when you're with someone who can't give you or who's not giving you the things that you need consistently. And so that's why I want you to pay close attention to the big six. Because if you keep your eyes and ears open and you simply date someone or you're in a relationship with someone and you see that you're experiencing any of these negative emotions on a consistent basis, it's a telltale sign that you're settling. Now, once you're aware of that, whether you choose to settle and continue on is ultimately on you. It's not on him. It's not on the universe. It's not on God. It's not on your parents. It's not on anybody else other than you. There's a famous Rush song that says, if you choose not to choose, you still have made a choice. Well, it kind of works like that. If you choose to ignore the red flags, if you choose to stay in a relationship where you're frustrated, sad, upset, angry, depressed, or resentful, then you know what? It's nobody's fault. And I'm not saying this to put the blame on you because I was there. I was in a relationship where I experienced pretty much almost all of those things for almost 2.5 years. And then when I got out and I did my mirror time, I was like, what the hell just happened? And I took a good look at myself and say, okay, why did I stay? Why did I stay with someone who consistently frustrated me? Even though she told me she loved me, even though we said we wanted the same things, the bottom line is I was frustrated because I wasn't getting my needs met. So this is your homework. This is your mirror time. So I suggest that you might want to watch this again and really take note of this. And if you're in a relationship, take a good, honest look and say, is this really the relationship I want? And if you're scared, okay, deal with it. And I always say, what are you more scared of? Settling and going to your grave with a crappy toilet bowl or mediocre relationship, or not settling, giving it up, and going for the gold. And who knows, you might actually get there. And I believe that you can. In fact, I've seen that there are many women, they come to a point in their life where they give up the good to go for the great, where there's that unconscious part of them that says, you know what? I've settled. I've done that. I'm not going to do this again. And it's not that they're picky, but they're being honest and true to themselves. And when they stand in that place and they're willing to walk away from the mediocre relationships, and they're willing to walk away from relationships where they're frustrated, upset, sad, angry, blah, 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 then ultimately what happens is relatively quickly they find that special guy that they're looking for. And not that they never get frustrated again, because we're going to get frustrated in life. We're going to get sad. We're going to get upset. We're going to get all those things. But they don't experience them consistently. And that's the telltale sign of a great relationship. I create GPS for Love to let you know you deserve a great relationship, but until you believe it in your heart, until you act from that place, it's going to be much more difficult to have. So a lot of people have done it. I know you can do it, but you've got to know you can do it, and then you got to put yourself out there. So love to hear from you. Do any of these negative emotions sound familiar to you? Have you experienced them in the past? Are you in a relationship where you're experiencing them now? If so, go ahead and put your comments below. If you have any other questions or feedback, go ahead and put those down below as well. It's always an honor and privilege to be with you. I'll see you next time. Much love.